All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. Welcome aboard to our YouTube channel. Glad to be with you this morning and every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go ahead and get started. Happy Friday. It is September 8th, 2023. The Lions won. This is why I'm not a good football bettor. I had the Chiefs winning last night. It was a good game. It was a great game, actually. I just went late on the East Coast, so I am a little tired. I'm running on maybe 6 hours of sleep, but I'll be fine. One cup of coffee in, I'll be all right. Futures this morning, Dow is down 22 points, NASDAQ down 11, S&P down about 0.04%, relatively flat. The Russell is green this morning, 1858. Volatility index, the VIX, up 0.42%, 1446. We know lately, every Friday has been kind of that VIX smash program. For some reason, Fridays, the VIX seems to tank. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Dollar is pulling back below the 105 level, 104.97. Currently down about 0.08%. Crude oil continuing to go higher, 87.55. Again, overbought on the daily, killing me. We'll see if we get above 88. If we do get above 88, I'm targeting 92. Again, we talked about that golden cross. We talked about energy stocks. I got into a CVX call this week on a UOA, the 170s, but they're down. Let's see if we get that push today. See if I can snatch that. Gasoline futures up nearly 3% this morning, $2.70. So again, that should benefit the energy stocks, hopefully. 1945 for gold futures, up 0.13%. Silver futures are down 0.13%. Copper down about 1.2% this morning, $3.71. Euro dollar is 107.01. Again, still chop. I am short. Dollar yen, excuse me. 147.57, up 28 pips. The pound dollar is up 12 pips, 124.84. Bitcoin is relatively flat, 25,925, down about 0.21%. 1627 for Ethereum futures. Yeah, in Flatsville, not a lot of demand for crypto right now. And again, that's not a bad thing. That's not a good thing either. Just how interesting, pretty stable for right now. There was a headline from JP Morgan talking about some kind of coin they're going to use, deposit coin. I don't know. I don't know if it's anything to do with Bitcoin. I know it's something to do with blockchain. I posted that on the Live Market blog. If you're on the Discord, feel free to check out that article. Let me go actually bring it up. I know I had it here. We share so much, so that's a good thing. Did I not share it? I think it was on Twitter. Here we go. JP Morgan is exploring blockchain-based deposit token for payments and settlements. So that's on Bloomberg. Feel free to check that out. Did not read the article. That's my bad. I just didn't read it. I didn't see any movement on Bitcoin, so I really didn't read up on it. But again, we'll see. We'll see if that even moves the needle. Some headlines this morning, nothing really out of the ordinary. That's why futures are basically flat. But what I want to talk about this morning is the Intel call. We talked about that yesterday, and we actually caught it yesterday. It did hit 100%, which is nice. But the important thing I want to talk about in regards to Intel is the be patient aspect of it. And you see it here, 100% gain on Intel, the 38s. Now, this one was not easy, and I think the reason is that the expectations are always moving. Look at this on the 6th. This is 2 days ago. Intel, we closed down 58%. We got as bad as what? Down 70%. But we keep you guys up to date. You see the notes on the premium signals. They're kind of a reminder, hey, we got to be patient. We got to be patient. Again, down 58%. And then what happens? We stick to the analysis, and it worked out in the end. So 100% gain on Intel. Every single trade is sent with the charts and everything like that. Let's take a look at Intel. Here we go, the trade updates. This was on the 6th as well. You can see that we were at 36.35. Right now we're at 38.02. So we are still in the money. I still have a couple runners. But taking a look at this, again, the iPad really helps with the pencil to really kind of give it kind of a football playbook look to the chart work. But the point being is that, guys, these options sometimes take time. It's a short week. We know that. Volume, not exactly amazingly elevated. We got elevated towards the tail end of Thursday. But other than that, we just have to pick our opportunities. The idea is high probability setups. So you just got to be patient. I know not every single trade is going to be immediate gratification, because if it was, which we've had a couple of times, people miss it. They say, oh, I didn't get into that trade. And the idea is that everyone gets in it in our server, so they don't miss anything. So I try not to scalp things, kind of look things at the 5-minute or anything like that. I just wanted to show you the last 5 days on Intel. And again, choppy until we got the break on Thursday, which is exactly what we needed and what we wanted. We are in the money on those calls. Great week so far. We are 3 for 3 undefeated. We'll go over that on the recap video. I'll do that tomorrow. But again, the emphasis is being patient. Trading is waiting, guys. It's not a slot machine. You're not going to get immediate gratification, win or lose. These stocks got to give yourself a little bit of time to breathe. We can see S&P really since Wednesday in the morning. It's been just chop. Not much to do. We're flat right now. So don't press anything. Don't press the issue. I have a couple of trades open. I got an Amazon call. I got a JPM put. So I'm looking pretty good here. But again, these are for next week. So again, individual names right now are what's moving. Future side, not so much. Yes, we got a nice little pop yesterday on NASDAQ. But again, you can see how it's been faded now. We're basically back to flat. So let's not have too much expectations. Let's see if next week is really when everyone gets back in the office, so we can at least get some opportunities out there to trade. Let's see here. UPS, Alessandro's asking. Let's take a look at it. UPS. Let's get to the daily. And UPS, remember, the stock has fallen really since this was the headline. I tried to trade UPS, and we were green actually. Long time ago. This was back in July, a couple of months ago now, almost. I remember it was like 80%. I didn't get a chance to take it, and it reversed on me. Sucks. Either way, you do have a gap to fill to the upside at 194.72. But really, since the deal with the unions, you can see how much the stock has fallen. I still think UPS is a great company to own. But again, the real expectation here is that how are these wages going to affect the company moving forward? Is how much of an EPS per share bite is it going to take out? So now you have to reprice UPS based on the higher labor costs with any kind of future growth. And I think right now that's where kind of the market's looking at, is that this kind of deal with the drivers, is that really worth $30 a share on UPS? I think it's a little overdone. We're hitting those October lows. May not be a bad place to take a look at a UPS for a long-term trade or a long-term position. But again, look at the weekly too. Below the 200 weekly M8. That's not a great sign either. That's usually a big break of trend. But again, we're getting close to lows. So let's place an alert at 155. Maybe that gives us a chance to even just swing the stock. If it gets around there, that's probably your buy zone to look for more upside. But really, all you're looking for is to bounce to 194.72 to get that gap fill. So I wouldn't get into it yet. I think you could get a little cheaper, but it's not a bad turnaround play. Shoot, I've read people have been buying PayPal, a lot of these names that have been beaten down, and I don't disagree with those. I just think you can get a little cheaper. So I think you can get a little more of a discount. And UPS is not going to go to zero. We know that. We know how important UPS is logistically to the world. So the real question is here as how do we reprice this stock? How do we reprice this company based on the new labor costs on the deal with the union? And it could be just one of those sell the news, worst case scenario. In this kind of market that's very choppy, it's almost that people are selling first and asking questions later. Very, very trigger finger. And that's fair. That's a good sign, actually. If everyone was euphorically bullish, that's a bad sign. And we still kind of want a little bit of fear out there. I know the VIX doesn't really imply that right now. Not a lot of volatility. There wasn't some big trade on the VIX I just read, and I shared it on the blog. Take a look at this. I'm going to segue into that. And it says here, Armageddon options volatility bet alert. Today, this was yesterday. Today, a trader bought 5,000 VIX February 180 strike calls for a total trade value of $30,000. In the history of the CBOE volatility index history, the highest level it ever reached was 89.53 during the global financial crisis. So, wow. Basically expecting a nuclear war, I guess. Not a horrible bet. I mean, it's insurance. That's really how you can think of it. We talked about how cheap the VIX is. I'm going to go ahead and demo this. I'm going to demo that trade. Meaning demo, I'm going to write it down in my notebook and then keep an eye and place alerts. And I want to see how this really goes, if this really hits or not. Because who knows? I mean, that's notional value. So again, trade value is 30,000, excuse me. So who knows what the notional value is? But $30,000 bet on the world ending. My question is, counterparty risk. I guess if the VIX hits 180, I assume the world's on fire. And the question is, how are you going to collect? At that time, will money even matter? Or maybe they just take 40% and leave a runner. For all I know, who knows? But that was interesting. That was, imagine 180. God, I don't know. I don't know what kind of black swan event that would cause that. I'm trying to rack my brain. My God, what is that expectation? It's got to be something like a nuclear war. I mean, that's kind of the only thing. And by that time, the stock market will probably be closed, I assume. So good luck collecting on that bet. Jeez, terrible. So I guess the worst thing about betting for the end of the world is actually when it happens. And just terrible to say. Terrible to even think about. But that's trading. Sometimes you got to think of the unexpected. In terms of the market right now, 4,500, kind of the level I'm looking for. You got 44.56. We bounced off a support here right around 44.34. Not exactly price action that I'm going to go ahead and get excited for, to be completely honest. I think you stick to the individual names. Let's go to JPM. I filled that yesterday, and we'll go to the daily. Take a look at this. You're below the 100-day moving average. And again, I love me some JPM. It's my favorite bank stock. Them and Goldman. And Goldman has been taking a hit. CEO issues, obviously. Shareholders are not very happy with David Solomon as Morgan Stanley is outperforming them. 143.56, 143.50 was the level. I'm targeting here that 200 daily moving average. And then you have a gap to fill at 139.27. You're breaking down from this resistance here, now support. Breaking down that support below the 100. Again, the moving averages are telling you. But in very clean inverse head and shoulders. Got the spike, got the pullback. The question here in terms of risk is that, could this just be a retest of support? And that's fair. Do we get a bounce? That could be said about the S&P. But taking a look at the XLF, this is all the banks, or banks ETF, which is weighted. That's below the 20. So we got a little bit of momentum to the downside. On XLF, this is the XLF is the financial ETF, excuse me. JPM is in that. So 34.06 looking like support possibly. If we kind of look here on a bigger scale on the daily, you can see 33.44 to around 33.58 being support. So financials may have a little more to go for some downside. We may get a chance at maybe getting something on a discount. Let's take a look at XLE. Opposite, we're in the energy sector, but still value. And how is that trading? 93.31. That needs to be on the radar. If we get above 92, I want to go ahead and target 93 because worst case scenario, we double top there. I don't know if it's a double or triple top. Well, 1, 2, yeah. XLE is going to break out, actually. So you need to keep an eye on energy. The only issue is crude oil is overbought. So if we're looking for more upside room in crude, again, that golden cross is telling us what we need to know is 93.47. The only issue, the only reason I haven't gone long on crude, obviously I got stopped out on my short, was I'm looking for a retest of 85. If we can retest 85 and bounce, oh man, then we'll be set. We can go long. But XLE needs to be on the radar. Again, you could see the golden cross that we talked about. That happened right here on the 30th. So kind of lagging behind crude oil. But again, XLE, CVX, MRO, Chevron, those are going to be names I'm going to be focused on. Get above 92, we'll target 93.31. For all we know, we could break out above that. If we go to the weekly, you can see still an upward trend above every major moving average. I think you stick with energy here. I don't think that anything really needs to change until we start breaking down some levels. But until then, that's what you're focused on. Amazon is the one that I filled yesterday. there you go. I had the Fit Vibes Guru hit me up here on regarding Amazon. So the daily, very nice candle, bounced right on the 50-day moving average, above the 20. Good momentum. You're probably thinking, what's that red trend line? Well, that's the March trend line, and you can see the only time we broke it was below May. But you can see it's been pretty respected. I mean, we've broken down below in August. Really what I'm looking at here, and I had this watch list set up, is that once we broke above 138, I believe, I think that was the number, like 137.50. Let me see, I had it on the watch list. Here you go. So I wrote down this watch list the other day. This is why you write it down. Amazon broke the 138 alert. I figured it was 138. Here you go. I even wrote it down on my chicken scratch. Above 138, we're talking into 140 calls. Oh, that's JPM. Let's go ahead and get Amazon. It's even wrote down here. We got that trend line. Remember, since March, broke below it a couple times. Use the 50 DMA as support. You're above the 20. 18,000 in volume on those contracts. All we're doing is looking to retest to 140. Plus, I have time for next week. So I really like Amazon for a boost, especially if the market can get a little bit of a bounce into a Friday. Maybe the VIX does get smashed, and we can get Dow up, 100, 150 points to wrap up the week and get us basically to, slightly red for the week. Again, short week, focusing on high probability setups. Very, very great week. But again, we're going to recap all these trades on the weekly recap tomorrow. Would you buy plug for a long here? Let's see here. Plug Power. This is the charging, EV charging station, I believe. Not the best chart, that's for sure. If you're trying to dumpster dive, you got a little more until 739. I just wouldn't get into it here because you still have a downtrend. You still have more to go. I would say this thing, I prefer to trade it than just own it. And you need to start, you don't have to be the first one to buy at the low either. Let's see if the market kind of pulls this back a little higher. Maybe we catch some bids on Plug Power. But I know I would not buy it here, nor would I want to own it. It's still in a downward trend. BLK, BlackRock. Yeah, financials, we talked about that. They are now part of the S&P 500 and just choppy. We did bounce above the 100 MA, but we were rejecting the 200. So what you need to do is get above that 200-day MA. That's really all you need to do. You got a couple of gaps, but I've never really traded this name. I don't know if they have a lot of volume, but I like financials to pull back here. So that doesn't really coincide with BlackRock since they are a financial. The question is, this move higher, was this really the S&P type move? That's really it. I think BlackRock, I think that was the one that joined the S&P 500. Not really sure. Let me confirm that with you guys. BLK S&P 500. Let's see. Let's see, BLK stock. Was it BlackRock that got added to the 500? Well, there's no news on BlackRock. Maybe someone wants to help me out that BlackRock was joining the S&P 500. Either way, I still expect financials to pull back. But the question is that going to affect BlackRock? Probably will. So we're just going to, I would say on this one, just stay neutral, still choppy. What do you think about AMD? Blackstone, there you go. Blackstone got added, not BlackRock. My bad. So I was looking at it like, what's that, the S&P 500? It's Blackstone, right. It was Blackstone and Airbnb. My fault. Let's take a look at AMD. We played semiconductors yesterday. We played Intel. And it's interesting, AMD being one of the better semiconductors in terms of stock price and stock movement. They were not moving so well. You can see in terms of price action coming down. You're still below the 20. I still like the 100 level. The question is, do we get there? I would stay short until you really get above 110. So 110 needs to break on AMD before you do anything in regards to upside calls or buying the stock if you wanted to. I think you're just kind of holding on for sub 100. That's where it gets interesting. That's maybe where you find some buyers. But Blackstone, thank you. That Blackstone was added to the S&P 500, and Airbnb. I said BlackRock. BlackRock is the financial company. And again, just to reiterate, I would say I'd be short the financials short term, with energy being more bullish. So again, still value stocks, but again, one side of the spectrum is, I would say, bullish energy with bearish financials moving forward. At least in terms of trading, that's what I'm looking at. So we'll see what we get today. I mean, I don't expect much, to be honest with you. I expect just a quiet end of a short week, Labor Day week, excuse me. So, we have NFL kicking off this weekend, so that is very nice. We'll see what we get. Let's keep the focus on high probability setups as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly recap of our trades. We'll see you guys then. Cheers.